Hello and welcome back to the Adrian Project. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Many thanks for choosing to click on my thumbnail and to watch my content. Okay, so since Boris and his No Fun Boy 3 seem determined to stop us all from going out and having some fun this spooky season, I thought I'd come up along with 5 alternate horror films for you to enjoy. And also coming along for the ride, I've got my good friend Edwina. Alright, fair enough. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to push on and we'll have a look at the first video, being The Possession of Hannah Grace. A shocking exorcism spirals out of control, claiming the life of a young woman. Months later, Megan Reed is working the graveyard shift in the morgue when she takes delivery of a disfigured cadaver. Locked alone inside the basement corridors, Megan begins to experience horrifying visions and starts to suspect that the body may be possessed by a ruthless demonic force. So yeah, the first one up, The Possession of Hannah Grace. For those of you who have seen the autopsy of Jane Doe, this one is along similar to lines, not exact carbon copies, but they are both stories about deceased possessed women. Shay Mitchell stars in this film as a mortuary worker. It's on a first shift during the night. A body is brought into the mortuary to be processed, and then all kind of shenanigans kick off, as they all too often do. Absolutely love this film. There's a lot of, shall we say, online reviewers have got a bit of short thrift for this film. I don't know why. It's highly entertaining, it's well made. It's not a high budget film, but some of the effects in it are really weird and creepy. And I'd say it all starts off with an exorcism that goes wrong. The girl in the exorcism dies and is brought into the mortuary, and it soon transpires that whatever was possessing the young girl may very well still be haunting her to this very day. Great acting in it, some really good jump scares. Absolutely love this film. Loved it from when I first saw the first trailer. Like I say, if you've seen The Autopsy of Jane Doe, I think you're really going to love this one. So a great way to kick off your Halloween celebrations. The Possession of Hannah Grace, I would give 4 Evil Ednas. That's not much of a secret, everybody knows that. Anyway, moving on to our next film. It's the British horror Borderlands. When claims of a supernatural event are made at a remote, isolated church, a team of Vatican-sanctioned paranormal investigators are dispatched to assess it. Deacon is sceptical from the start, but when he and techie Robin Hill arrive at the eerily quiet town, they soon start to question their own judgment.
As the evidence mounts and events take a darker turn, it seems that something deeply sinister has been awakened within the church.
So, Borderlands, great British horror story, and what could be more scary than that? You know, you are really pushing it. Okay, like I said, Borderlands is a mid-budget British horror film. That's not going to be taking away any of the scares. I have spoken about this previously before, but I thought I've got to do it again. It's Halloween season and you really need to see this film. Spooky goings on at the church in the leafy suburbs of some quite English village somewhere. The Vatican get wind of it, so send over a couple of their investigators to find out if all the stories of spooky goings on are true. Starring Gordon Kennedy, absolutely brilliant Scottish actor. You may remember him from the comedy series in the 90s. Absolutely brilliant, but he's been in tons of stuff since that. He's the disgruntled Vatican investigator. He's seen it all before, he's seen all the fakes, and he's just a bit long in the tooth for this one. But he decides to take this one up, goes to the church where things have been happening, and that's when all the spookiness starts to kick off. There is one particularly awesome scene in it that I absolutely love. It does involve someone getting a punch in the face, but when you see it, if you're like me, you'll be punching the air. It's absolutely fantastic. The only thing for me for this video was the ending. Clare liked the ending. I was a bit meh about it. It does sort of wind the story up altogether, but I thought it was it felt a bit tacked on at the end for me. Watch it for yourself. I'm not going to give any spoils away. So there we go. This is Borderlands, and this is another fantastic British horror film. There are plenty of jump scares in it. Personally, for me, like I say, the ending was a bit meh, so I am going to knock one Evil Edna off that. I am married, behave yourself. So I would like to give Borderlands 4 Evil Ednas. Which song's that? Next one up, another British film. This one is called Ghost Stories.
Professor Philip Goodman is a renowned skeptic of all things supernatural. Given the opportunity to investigate 3 unsolved case histories of baffling paranormal activity, he uncovers mysteries beyond his own imagination, each more frightening, uncanny, and inexplicable than the last, leading to a nightmarish conclusion that forces him to question everything he once believed.
So, Ghost Stories, another great British horror film. This one is done in the portmanteau style. That isn't me that's been swallowing a thesaurus. Just once more, you'll be back in your box. So, as I was saying, the portmanteau style, which is when you've got lots of little stories that all go together to make one full story. It's all about a paranormal investigator who goes around the country debunking stories about ghosts, werewolves, things that go bump in the night, and he's given the opportunity to debunk yet another series of events. Each film, there's 3 of them, sees them going off to investigate 3 different spooky goings on. I don't really want to say too much about this film because I could quite easily give away the twist at the end, but it is a fantastic twist at the end. There are some awesome cameos in this film, some brilliant appearances from actors who you wouldn't expect to be in this kind of film, such as Paul Whitehouse, who you may remember from the BBC comedy film The Fast Show, series, sorry, not film, Fast Show, and he did a lot with Harry Enfield as well, didn't he? He appears in this. That's a great story. But I don't really want to say too much about this film because it could give the ending away. But I can highly recommend it. There's some really freaky jump moments in this. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. There is just something, I don't know, there's just something lacking that will let me give this the full 5 Evil Ednas. Can't quite put my finger on what it is. Probably you might know, I don't know. But there I go, my 3rd offering for this spooky Halloween of 2020. Ghost Stories, and I'm going to give Ghost Stories 4.5 Evil Ednas. Fourth one up on our list is yet another British horror. It's the vampire film Byzantium. Oh, all the old ones are the good ones. What? Good? Right.
Directed by Neil Jordan and starring Gemma Arterton and Cerise Ronan, Byzantium is an erotic horror fantasy that takes vampire mythology to a new level of modern terror. Upon the windswept shores of a desolate coastal town stands the Byzantium guest house. After years of being abandoned, its doors are about to be opened again by the predatory and seductive Clare, who plans turning the hotel into a brothel with her young and introverted daughter Eleanor. But these mysterious women have a dark secret that goes back 200 years and is about to reach its ungodly and deathly climax.
Yeah, so Byzantium, another British horror film directed by Neil Jordan, who did Interview with a Vampire and A Company of Wolves. It stars Gemma Arterton as a sexy but very deadly vampire who lures men into a hotel just with the intention of draining their blood and feeding on them. You would. Also with her is a quiet and unassuming daughter played by Cerise Ronan, and let's admit it, she's never been in a bad film, and it's yet another awesome performance by Cerise Ronan in this. She too is a vampire, but she's not over enamoured about the lifestyle, and she will only feed from and kill people who are near the end of their lives. All is going well until there's some shadowy figures in the background that seem to be trying to track them both down, and as the story goes along you'll find out what's happening there. Absolutely fantastic film. Not a lot of people talk about this one. I don't know why, because I think it's awesome. Claire thinks it's awesome. Love this film from the first time I've watched it. If you love vampire horror films, if you want a vampire film with a bit of a twist to the story, it's not your run-of-the-mill vampire story by any means, but it is truly awesome. And for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to give Byzantium my full 5 Evil Ednas. Well, why don't you take a pill? In fact, take the full bottle. Next and final film on our list is the violent and gory French horror film Martyrs. On a dark, deserted street, a half-naked, visibly abused girl runs screaming. Bruised, bloody, and suffering from dementia, she is eventually rescued by the local police. Her name is Lucy, and she's been missing for over a year, but refuses to give away any information describing her captors or any details concerning her violent abduction. During an intense investigation, the police eventually discover an abandoned slaughterhouse containing what looks like a torture chamber. But what exactly took place and how Lucy managed to escape remains a mystery. Many years after the horrific incident, a seemingly normal family have an unexpected guest during breakfast. Their surprise visitor is a distraught young woman carrying a loaded shotgun, intent on revenge. Yeah, this is the original French version. It's not the American remake of Martyrs. I think you're not going to see anything more gory than this. You know, when you two get your heads together. Yeah, so like I'd say, I'd go for the original French version. It is an infinitely better film. It starts off, you think it's going to be your run-of-the-mill generic revenge flick with a bit of a paranormal twist to it, but it soon spirals out of control, and this film does a total 180 and takes you in a totally different direction. Like I say, if you are not a fan of gore, I'd stay well clear of this, because this has got gore and blood and violence in buckets. Absolutely fantastic story, brilliantly done. The two main actors in this are absolutely fantastic. Can't say enough highly about this film. There are a lot of other online horror film reviewers who have done in-depth reviews of this film. All I can say is I totally agree with them. This is probably one of the best horror films you're ever going to see, and what an absolutely fantastic way to top off your Halloween night. And I am going to give Martyrs, the French version, my full 5 Evil Ednas. And there we have it, my top 5 alternative horror films for this horror season. I'd like to thank Edwina for being along. It's been a pleasure. So, what are you going to be up to next? That's what you think. You're going back in your box till next Halloween. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed that one. Please remember, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to my channel. It'd be very much appreciated. And also, don't forget to ring that little notification bell. Also, if you've got Facebook, you can follow me at Adrian Bow Project. And if you've got a Twitter account, you can follow me at Project Bower. So, with all that in mind, I'd like to thank you all again for watching, and here's to seeing you all again on the next episode of the Adrian Bow Project.